Born as a regular dog, Rex served before the Great War in the Denver Police Department as a law enforcement officer or Leo support model. During his service, he was cybernetically enhanced and turned into a cyberdog, serial number B955883. Rex, like many other cyberdogs in Denver, thanks to their modifications, survived the Great War and continued living in the city. Over the next 200 years, Denver became infested with feral dogs, both vicious and wild. It became common knowledge that those who entered the city ran the risk of being swarmed and torn apart. But sometime between 2277 and 2281, Denver and the feral dogs were introduced to the Legion, who were seeking to replenish their numbers after their defeat at Hoover Dam. Despite the dogs' overwhelming presence in the city, there were those living on the outskirts, post-war tribes, who had actually managed to live alongside the hounds, all of which were either eliminated or assimilated by the Legion. One tribe in particular, the hangdogs, who worshipped the strays, resisted assimilation much longer than others, though in the end they surrendered when Legate Linnaeus started burning their dogs alive. To them, the Denver hounds were sacred, and the thought of their spirit animals burning in the afterlife was unbearable, so they submitted themselves to Chazawol and became the Legion's houndmasters. With their aid, the Legion was able to tame a number of mongrels, turning the stray dogs into warhounds, including B955883, who could be seen sporting a Legion bull on the side of his torso. Before 2277, the Legion didn't employ dogs on the battlefield, meaning warhounds were not used at the first battle for Hoover Dam, which makes this next part quite confusing. According to Anthony, a former hangdog, Chazawol had a cybernetic warhound that looks a lot like Rex.
The mechanical dog you have with you, where did you get it? Such things are common in Denver, but I didn't know that other cities had them as well. I ask because Chazawol once had a similar pet, but it was lost during a battle.
For that dog to be Rex, Rex would have had to have left Denver before the first battle for Hoover Dam, then entered Legion territory and be tamed by Chazawol, or by someone who knew how to tame dogs, because houndmasters at this point in time were not a part of the Legion. But Anthony doesn't specifically say Rex is that lost dog, only that he looks similar to the dog that was lost. It's possible that a cyberdog from somewhere else, a different city, ended up in Chazawol's possession. That dog did fight at Hoover Dam and was destroyed, while Rex joined the Legion after Denver was annexed by Linnaeus. Since cyberdogs aren't that common in the Legion, Anthony can't help but mention Denver, since that's where he's from and where he's seen cyberdogs before, giving the impression that Rex and Chazawol's dog are one and the same, and both dogs were lost in battle, making things even more confusing. In any case, after joining the Legion, Rex was damaged in battle and left behind. Sometime later, his body was found by a prospector who repaired the damages, and the unlikely duo joined forces. Not much is known about this part of Rex's life, only that it was short-lived, as the prospector eventually sold Rex to the king, an Elvis impersonator living in Freeside. After taking B955883 home, the king renamed him Rex, Latin for king. Now living at Freeside School of Impersonation, Rex was no longer a stray dog trying to survive, or a warhound fighting for some old man's dream. Instead, he was the king's friend. In the few years Rex lived with the king, his personality, quirks, likes and dislikes became known, with the king learning Rex hates both rats and hats. We don't really know the reason why Rex dislikes hats so much. They may remind him of his time in the Legion, serving those who burned his kind alive in Denver, or the fact that hat rhymes with rat, but Rex's behavior towards rats seems to suggest otherwise. It could be a quirk he's always had, or the result of something more serious. In 2281, Rex is 209 years old and is beginning to show signs of neural degradation, mood changes, memory loss, and agitation, to name a few. Without intervention, Rex would die. Naturally, wanting to help his friend, the king sent the courier, someone he was familiar with, to the followers of the apocalypse at the old Mormon fort, in search of someone, anyone, who could help his dear friend. Regrettably, the followers were not able to help Rex, which is something they had already told the king 3 months prior, and their answer hadn't changed. They didn't have the surgical capabilities or the cybernetic knowledge to operate on Rex, who needed brain surgery. However, the regional administrator, Julie Farkas, provided the courier with a small glimpse of hope. She knew someone who could help. Henry, a scientist living far west of Freeside, in Jacobstown.
She said, what? Why didn't she just say so when I was there? Actually, come to think of it, I was pretty angry when I went down there. I vaguely recall something about upending a few tables, maybe knocking out one of her doctors. Anyway, that's incredible news. Only thing is, there's too much going on around here for me to make a trip like that. And I need all of my guys just to keep things settled here. You seem to be awfully interested in my boy Rex here, and you've done some good work for me already. I'll tell you what, you promised to get Rexy here to that doctor, and I'll lend him to you. What do you say?
Due to the unrest in Freeside, the king was unable to take his friend to Jacobstown without running the risk of losing his home to NCR squatters. So instead he put Rex's life in the hands of the courier, someone he trusted. But there's a small chance that Rex never made it to Henry and perished on the way to Jacobstown.
He had survived police service in Colorado, the Great War, combat duty with the Legion, and being the companion of the king. But in the end, Rex finally succumbed to the horrors of the wasteland.
If Rex dies, the king does have a few solemn words about his passing.
That's strange. I don't see old Rexy with you. He usually comes back here whenever he's not with you. Where'd he get to? That's terrible. I hope the poor little guy gave as good as he got. He always was a fighter. Why, I remember one time when he... Do you mind if we talk about something else?
I don't believe this ending is canon, so let's say Rex, with the courier's aid, made it to Henry, alive and unscathed.
I assume this is about something important? You're interrupting my research. Yes, specializing in neuroscience, both human and canine. Cyberdogs and the like. It's not a field I work in much anymore. It's neural degradation. Biomed gel can only preserve a living brain for so long, so you'll need to find a replacement. I haven't left Jacobstown in years, but there was one woman in Novak, Gibson. I remember her living with a pack of hounds. Aside from her, I know that the Fiends and Caesar's Legion fight alongside dogs. There could be viable specimens among them, if you can get to them.
Thanks to his scientific training with the Enclave 4 decades prior, Henry is well versed in canine neurology and cybernetics.
Yeah, the
examining
king is
Rex,
a pretty
he
good.
told the courier the only cure for Rex's condition was to replace his
I
old
want to
brain
replay
with a healthy new
Fallout New
one.
Vegas so
But
bad.
before talking about those, there is another possible ending where, despite needing a new brain, Rex never received one.
Having never received a replacement brain, Rex finally succumbed to old age, abruptly shutting down forever one quiet morning. After 2 centuries of life and decades of service to humanity, Rex collapses and dies.
Despite having good intentions, the courier might not have had enough time to find a replacement brain, or the king decided that changing Rex wasn't the right choice, and allowed his friend to live out his remaining days without any more alterations. This could be the canon ending, but there's still a myriad of possibilities as to what could have happened next. The courier could have gone to the Fiend camp near the Poseidon gas station, and, after fighting Violetta, a Fiend dog fed a strict diet of turbo and human flesh brought the brain back to Henry.
Revitalized by Violetta's brain, Rex eventually learned to balance the memories of his old life with Violetta's experiences among the brutal fiends. His mind had difficulty adjusting, but Rex eventually found peace with his new, more vicious self.
The courier could have also gone to the fort and spoke to Anthony, the Houndmaster, and, after giving Looper, one of his best dogs, an honorable death in the arena, brought the brain back to Henry.
With the transplant of Looper's brain,
Hey, what's up,
Rex
Chompy
gained
Man?
all of the donor's experiences traveling with the Legion. These melded well with his own memories of the Legion, and his new mind quickly adjusted to the myriad memories.
Or the courier could have gone to the Gibson scrapyard and spoke to old lady Gibson, and after buying Ray, an old dog whose natural life was almost over, put the dog down and brought the brain back to Henry.
After Ray's brain was transplanted into Rex's cybernetic body, it took Rex some time to adjust to the old scrapyard dog's memories. Eventually, Rex's mind settled peacefully, melding his own memories with that of long travels with old lady Gibson.
With a new healthy brain, the courier guided Rex back to Freeside, where the king was happy and relieved to see his friend, both safe and sound.
Why, Rexy, you look all better, boy. Good as new. Did my Rexy get a new brain? You're a man of your word, no doubt about it. I can't thank you enough. If you want, hold on to Rex for a little while longer. I'm sure he'd enjoy that. Was there anything else you wanted?
I'm just trying to see someone play a
While we
Fallout
don't know
game.
which brain was used, this still is
Yeah,
the end of Rex's
I got
story,
done with it
which does
earlier.
continue thanks to Roxy.
This was the
in
finale
the Old World
of me
Blues
playing Fallout
DLC.
3.
Roxy
I'm playing
is a
Fallout 4 though on
temporary
Monday.
companion that can be created
Episode 1, Game of the
indefinitely
Year
by
edition.
splicing a dog and a robot together. Roxy has little to no lore and really only serves as a way for Rex to have a happy ending, despite the courier's choices. So even if Rex dies during your playthrough, or didn't receive a brain, it doesn't matter. However, there's only one slide for all 4 potential endings, and Roxy doesn't speak English, so for these next parts, I'm just going to translate. The cybernetic canine, gender female, designation Roxy, sat in her guard post in X8. That is, until her I'm in heat programming circumvented her stay routine, and she loped into the Mojave. There she ran across the corpse of Rex. She dragged him back to the Big Empty and had him rebuilt.
Yeah,
for
I'm gonna be
company.
playing Fallout
The
76
two of
after I
them
play.
then constructed a litter of
After I get done with Fallout 4, which will be a whole nother, that'll probably be a month or something, because I played Fallout 3 for basically, like, probably like a month of Fallout 3. I'll probably play Fallout 4 for like a month and a half to 2 months. Then we'll get into Fallout 76, where I'm gonna have like an open world where everybody joins up. We're gonna be playing fucking multiplayer on there. But the thing is about Fallout 76 is it's pretty fucking crazy. I might start doing season 2s of this shit, but I know I'm gonna be hopping into Elder Scrolls regardless.
cyberpups, a small army of Boston Terrifiers that gnawed and devoured anything in their path. There, she ran across Rex at the King's School of Impersonation. His brain was failing. That was all right. He was still smarter than the think tank. The two of them constructed a litter of cyberpups, a small army of Boston Terrifiers that gnawed and devoured anything in their path. There, she ran across Rex, who had been following the courier just as she had. They barked for a while and realized they had a lot in common. The two of them constructed a litter of cyberpups, a small army of Boston Terrifiers that gnawed and devoured anything in their path. It's impossible to know the canon ending without developer confirmation or references in subsequent titles, but the endings don't really matter. Rex is 209 years old. That's a lot for a single dog to experience. Over 2 centuries of servitude and survival. It's a miracle Rex continued living at all. But in his twilight years, he discovered the king, a man who was able
Okay,
to
my
look
friend
beyond
told me that
his
Fallout 76 was
cybernetics,
horrible.
his
I've watched some
branding
videos
and
about Fallout
scars,
76. I wish there
a
was more
man
lore
who
of Fallout
didn't see
76.
Rex as an instrument of
Yeah,
war
that's the
or a
issue
commodity to
with
be
Fallout
sold.
76.
Instead, he saw Rex for what he truly was.
The
a loyal
lore isn't really
companion.
there.
This companionship
Not really
is
looking forward to
rare in
running
the
through on that.
post-war world.
But I'm gonna have an open
Most
world multiplayer. That's the
relationships
goal.
are
Where we just join
transactions
up.
in disguise. But the king didn't ask Rex for anything. He allowed him to be himself. And that's why, no matter how long or how far Rex travels, no matter what brain he receives, if any, or who his master tells him to go with, he'll always return to Freeside to be with his friend.